Indigenous Affairs Minister Linda Burney seems determined as ever to make sure people don't vote for the Voice to Parliament, because today, again, she decided it would be smart to insult people planning to vote no.
The No campaign is being run by a group called Fair Australia. It is importing Trump-style politics to Australia. It is post-truth. Last month, Pauline Hanson went on radio and said that she had met a true black. To think that this is unimaginably insulting and deserving of anything is really beyond the pale. I don't think the business community will be very impressed by the bully boy tactics of Peter Dutton.
That Trump-style politics line sounds vaguely familiar.
Friends, I fear that the No campaign are importing American-style Trump politics to Australia. At the heart is a post-truth approach to politics. Its aim is to polarise people, and its weapon of choice is misinformation.
She also cast the discussion around the Voice as somehow detrimental to Indigenous people, as though its passing should be some kind of foregone conclusion.
We are very conscious of the issues around mental health and just where this debate could go. We've already seen some fairly unsavoury things.
Now, exactly what unsavoury things have happened in the public debate around the Voice? I mean, I'd argue accusing opponents of employing Trump-style politics because they dare to point out that the Voice to Parliament would, by its very nature, be a form of racial division is unsavoury. But it would seem she does actually think it is a foregone conclusion.
We are in the campaign for a yes vote. And that is where the focus is, that is where my belief is, and I believe that's where the Australian people are at.
It's where the Australian people are at. I mean, I understand the need for optimism when you're trying to sell a message, particularly when you're trying to get a referendum over the line. They're bloody difficult to make happen. But it's a bit presumptuous to say that a yes vote is where the Australian people are at. I mean, we know on all the current polling that the Voice is in a pretty precarious position. But it's a window into this government's mindset on the Voice. They can't understand why any fair-minded Australian would oppose it. So surely everyone supports it. And I reckon, that's one of the reasons it will fail. This campaign to insult and demonise ordinary Australians, including many Indigenous people, mind you, who don't want to divide people along racial lines in the Constitution, it'll only turn voters off. It's the equivalent of when Hillary Clinton referred to Trump supporters as a basket of deplorables. We know how that worked out for her. But this is actually part of their campaign strategy. And we know this because an organisation run by a member of the Referendum Working Group has advised people to help stoke racism. This outfit's called Passing the Message Stick. It has Jackie Huggins from the Referendum Working Committee and Larissa Baldwin, who's the boss of left-wing activist group Get Up, on its steering committee. They held a webinar last month in which they invited the director of a research group called Common Cause Australia to speak about how to convince undecided voters to support the Voice to Parliament. This woman, Eleanor Glenn, said to the webinar about no voters, quote, "Our messages should alienate them. When we do this, they start making outlandish and racist comments that turn off the persuadables because persuadables don't want to see themselves as being racist or aligned with those kind of comments. It's then easier to bring the persuadables on board to our welcoming, inclusive, better future." So you've got Linda Burney getting up at the press club saying we're worried about the mental health impacts of this referendum and unsavoury things being said, but then you have other members of the Yes campaign saying, no, let's try to whip up racism so we can try to make the No camp look like a bunch of nutters. I mean, which is it? Do you want to create racism, or do you want to prevent racism? Do you want to weaponise the racism of a few to enshrine racial division in the Constitution? Do you really care about mental health? If you did, I suggest you'd be stopping this referendum right now, because I can tell you, as sure as night follows day, if this referendum doesn't get up, it will set back the cause of reconciliation for no good reason other than Anthony Albanese wanting to be the next Gough Whitlam and have his big reforming moment.